you. So hush, little thing. It's sunny outside. Shame you can't see the sun, isn't it? But England won the match. I think with 6-0, it's likely they're going to win. You'll take to the sky, but until that morning, there's nothing can harm you. With a daddy and mammy standing by. Oh yeah. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Crystal Rose and welcome to Crystal Maze, a series of discussions about moral dilemmas, which speaks true to character. What is it that makes someone react in a different way faced with the same situation as somebody else? And as parents, when we give birth to our children, how beholden are we to them? Do we owe them the rest of our lives? Each time there's going to be a moral dilemma about a different subject, and then I'm going to be asking you, what would you do? So, let me introduce you to these two ladies here. First of all, we have Norma. Norma is a mother of 3. She's also a grandmother of 3. She's a political activist. She is divorced, but she's in a relationship. Please welcome Norma. Then we have Karen. Karen is a mother of 6, a grandmother of 2. She used to be a local government officer, and apart from that, she's a budding writer. Please welcome Karen to the stage. Right, so I'm going to set a scenario, and then I'm going to ask you to comment on it. Norma, you take your 21-year-old son on holiday to Bali, and at the airport on the way back, a policeman comes up to you because his dog, he's got a sniffer dog, and the dog has taken great interest in your son's luggage. When they search your son's luggage, actually you're carrying, let me take it that you're carrying your son's luggage. And he looks into the bag, policeman takes out some drugs, there's quite a lot of cannabis. You know that in Bali there's a zero tolerance to drugs. And you've also actually seen on TV that a judge has just sentenced someone to death for being a trafficker. A drug trafficker is zero tolerance. You are aware that females get a lesser sentence than males do. So when the policeman says to you, who does this belong to? What do you say?
Okay. As a mother of 3 boys who are now turned to men, I have actually employed the principles of tough love for my children. In terms of that, 1, I would not be carrying his bag through the airport. That's the first thing. 21-year-old child. And secondly, I have to, first of all, give credence to all single mothers out there who bring up their children and battle with them. But I must say that I have to look at the relationship between myself and my son before I can stand up and say I'm going to carry the rap for him.
Right, so you've got one choice or the other. And another thing you can't do with these moral dilemmas is put your own spin on it. So the question was, in the event that you were coming through an airport, Norma,
Yes.
and you are carrying your son's bag, for whatever reason, he was ill, whatever reason, you're carrying his bag, a policeman finds drugs in that bag. You know that there's a tough sentence to be had, be served by one or the other of you. Would you take the rap for your son?
No. Because when they open the bag, they will see that it doesn't contain my clothes, it contains his clothes. So clearly, it's not my bag.
Ah, but sure, it doesn't matter what the clothing is. It might be that you hid your drugs within his thing. But you're saying that regardless, tough love, And you would allow your son, even though there's a possibility that your son may well get the death sentence, you would allow him to take the rap.
Okay, let me go through the scenario. Karen, wait a minute. Let me go through the scenario, okay? First of all, I'm a mother. I love my son. I have a connection with my son. 1, here, mental. 2, through my heart, physical. And because I born him. He's mine, okay? And from the age of 0 to 21, I have trained him, 1, to be honest, 2, to be truthful, and 3, not to do anything that breaks the law. If they break the law, take the consequences, okay? Because in employing tough love, I am helping him to be a better person. They open the bag and they say, is that yours? No, it's not mine, because eyeball to eyeball, before we went to Bali, and Bali is a beautiful country, okay, this is the second time we're going there, so he knows the rap, he knows the conditions, and he looks at me and says, Mom, I will not take any drugs, okay? He's looked me in my face, I'm his mother, and he has told me he's not doing it, and he goes behind my back, knowing the risks, and puts drugs in his bag.
Okay.
This mother is not taking the rap for that.
Okay, let's see whether you shift your stance, because that's her stance at the beginning. Let's see, and that's the thing about morality. Is it fluid? Let's see whether she stays there right the way it's good. Karen, how would you respond?
Well, I personally, as a mother, I know what is right and what is wrong. Whatever he's done is totally wrong, but I personally would take the rap for him.
You would?
Yes, I would take the rap for my son.
You would possibly lose your life and certainly lose your liberty.
I would definitely, in the spur of the moment, there's no time to think about it. My first reaction is, it's fight or flight. And my first reaction will be, it's me, because he's my son. I gave birth to him. I'm not thinking rationally to say, well, this is right. Like he was saying, I brought you up to be this, and this. There's officers there in front of me, and you have to make a split decision there and then. And my split decision would be to say, it was me, to protect my son.
Well, on top of that, it's not the first time. When he was in the UK, he was caught with drugs on him. So it's a pattern that's developing.
There is a pattern, but at the end of the day...
This is really interesting. For someone that said they didn't want to be on camera, God is doing a lot of talking right there. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, he's been caught. I mean, everybody has faults. That is one of the faults. And as you said, he's looked you in the eye and, he said that he won't do it again. Unfortunately, he's been caught. But I think as well, the reality of what will and could happen, him facing the death penalty, if I were to, as you were saying, Crystal, women don't really, they're more lenient in terms of death penalty. If I were to take the rap and have to serve, like I think there's a woman out there now, I think,
Melissa.
Yes, she's serving time for her son. There could be a probability that in my incarceration, that somewhere along the line I could be freed from it.
Okay, well, we understand where you are.
Safe.
Norma. Okay, she's forgotten what she's going to say. Okay, well, so I wanted to find out then whether anyone's changed their position from what you've heard or what you've been pressured to say. In that same scenario that I set up, so you've actually had this affair, you've taken your son to Bali because you feel guilty, you're aware now that he takes cannabis because he was trying to ease the pain from the last time that you beat him. Not that you beat him often. Would you now take the rap for your son? But you said not long ago that you would.
Listen, I said I would die if they needed a kidney, if they needed blood, they needed a leg, they needed anything, okay, parts of my body, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bones, etc. But when you do a wrong, I cannot hold you up in a wrong that you've done. I cannot do it.
I think that's very harsh.
Possibly. Possibly.
Because when you go back and each day when you go back home and you know that your son's incarcerated and you know the type of, is not to say like in Warburg Scruff that they can learn how to become a lawyer, a solicitor and have all these programs there for...
They do. In Bali they do have programs.
Okay.
They do.
Well, we didn't know that at that time in that split decision. I wouldn't be able to rest. And as you said, you know, you have another child to look after. My mind would be so focused on him out there that functioning normally at home would be much more of a try for me. To be honest with
Okay,
you.
nothing
Quite
says that I
difficult.
would function normally, okay? I'm a political activist. So therefore, I would be fighting for him on the home beaches, on the Bali beaches, etc., etc.
But
That's my nature, okay? If you're in trouble, you need help, I fight
But as
for
a
you.
political activist, it takes a long time to get things through Parliament.
It
And in
does.
the interim, your son could die.
He could, okay? That's one of the scenarios we have to bear.
Okay.
But in terms of that, I would be fighting to get him out. I would be fighting for better conditions. I would be fighting for him to serve his sentence in the UK. But
Okay.
he has to do the sentence in order to come out the other side a better person.
Okay.
Tough love.
But also, he may resent you as well, isn't it?
Listen, I'm his
Therefore,
mum.
you've lost.
He can resent me for a period. I'm still his mum.
As long as he wants.
Okay, another point.
Yes, so I'm on the side of not taking the rap in this particular scenario.
I forgive.
Okay, leave
But listen.
this. Okay, last point. So, I'd like to know who in this room agrees with Norma. Can you raise your hand?
What? Who's Norma?
Me. Wow, that's interesting. And who agrees with Karen? Isn't that interesting? I would never have thought that the majority would see their children be put to death.
Can I just ask Karen a quick question?
Yes, you can.
Hi Karen, just quickly,
Yeah.
I've taken on board your points, but what would you do if your son, being raised as a decent person, then turns around at the airport and say, Mum, you're not taking the rap for me, I'm holding my hands up.
Okay.